Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. If you haven't been here before, my name is Angie and today I am going to be doing an overview of my entire palette collection. So I have a lot here. These are face palettes, these are eyeshadow palettes. I'm just going to go through quickly all the palettes that I have and I'll let you know if I'm going to get rid of it because I have a lot of palettes here. So before I get into it, if you like this video, if you like me, please don't forget to subscribe down below by clicking the red button. Give this video a like, it helps other people find me, as well as leaving me a nice comment. And go follow me on other social media if you want to see more of what I do, which I will also list down below. And with that, let us get into today's video. I'm going to start off with this NYX California palette. So this is a palette, I got it for free at Gen Beauty. I love Gen Beauty. And this is what it looks like. So this is a fun, affordable palette. There's a couple of pops of color, a few neutrals, and they have great eyeshadows. So if you're looking for a cheap, affordable palette, go towards NYX. They are great. So moving on, this is all of my Makeup Geek shadows in a Z palette. Don't worry, I am gonna switch over to a Makeup Forever palette. And these are just all the colors I have. We have some of the foiled eyeshadows right here, a lot of the matte neutrals. I really love the mattes. Mattes are my favorite kind of eyeshadows. And just a pretty good variety. I'm going to definitely need to get a new palette anyway, and I need a bigger one for sure because I have all these, plus I've been getting color pops lately, as well as Anastasia Beverly Hills. So Makeup Geek has great eyeshadows, get it, just buy a palette, you don't necessarily have to buy this palette. So next I have the Makeup Geek with Manny MUA palette. This is what it looks like. It's super gorgeous and it has a mirror. And all the colors are just really pretty. So this is the only one that's like pretty patchy, but it's hard to make reds. Reds and purples, I think, are the two hardest colors to make. And then this one is a foiled eyeshadow. I also don't use this one that often because I can't wear this one all the time, but it's gorgeous. And everything else is great. These are like all my like perfect shades. I have very similar taste to him in eyeshadows. This is one of the best. Again, Makeup Geek formula is amazing. You can't get this one anymore, but it was a good palette while it lasted. So I'm gonna go into the palettes I have that are from the Sephora brand. So this was the first eyeshadow palette I ever got. And this is what it looks like. So just a lot of neutral colors. You can see I've hit pan on a couple colors. These are good for like eyeliner as well. Sephora has decent eyeshadows. This one wasn't bad and it had a mirror. And it's on the cheaper side of the high-end palettes. They're okay in my opinion. And I also have this other one. So this is the Sun Bleach Filter palette, also from Sephora. I think it's gorgeous. So this was probably one of the first eyeshadow palettes that I had bought once I started watching all these YouTube videos. So this is what it looks like. It's very neutral. It's honestly not my favorite palette. I don't think everything is very pigmented, but that also kind of has to do with the colors. Like they're all kind of similar, but it is a very pretty palette. I just go for a bolder look now than when I bought this palette. Moving right along, we're gonna get into Too Faced. So this is the Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette. This is what it looks like. This is like their version of a neutral palette. It smells like chocolate. The eyeshadows are pigmented. They're gorgeous. I love pretty much all the shades in the palette. The only ones I don't really like are this Gilded Ganache. It looks really pretty in the pan. I love olive green, but it doesn't come out in that manner. Candied Violet is okay. You can make that one work. And Strawberry Bonbon is a good shadow. I just don't find myself ever using a pastel pink eyeshadow. But other than that, this is great. The packaging is really sturdy. I love this a lot. I highly recommend this palette. And this is one from their holiday kit. This is a gingerbread cookie. It smells like gingerbread. And in this one, the eyeshadows in the holiday sets tend to not be as good as the ones in their regular palettes. But it's not bad. It's a cute little gift. I love how they have 2 in front. It came with a set of 3. So that one is okay. I am not keeping this one. I am giving this one away because it's not my favorite palette. I don't reach for it. And I also have the Anastasia Modern Renaissance palette. This is like one of my favorite palettes. As you can see, I have hit pan on many a shadow. What is that for? And I haven't even had this that long. So there's just a lot of good warm shades. Obviously there's some like more colorful ones, but like for the most part, if you love warm eyeshadows, and you love good eyeshadows, you need to get this palette, and it's permanent. Great palette. Highly recommend. So next I'm going to go into Morphe, which people have very mixed opinions about, and I have mixed opinions about these 2 eyeshadow palettes I have. So this is the Morphe 12NB palette. So it is a 12 pan palette. That is how they name them, and it has very warm shades. None of them are really that good, TBH. I'll kind of show you what they look like. So they're okay. They're not my favorites. They aren't the most pigmented, and the shades kind of all like blend together. If you look, like these 2 are very similar. Like they're just not all, it's a good palette in my opinion if you want just a basic palette, but these are not the best eyeshadows by far, but it's also affordable. So that's kind of what you're getting. The packaging's not the best, but the affordability is there. So this one is also finding a new home, but I have also gotten this Morphe 25A palette, and this palette is incredible. I like the pigmentation. The variety is great. I like this palette so much more. Very similar color scheme. There's obviously more colors, and the eyeshadows are just so much better in this palette. They're more pigmented, more creamy, more blendable. I just like this palette a whole lot more. I think it was limited edition, but I don't know if they're like restocking it or whatever, but I think this one is one of the better palettes that they have. And it's also affordable, so there is that. So next is this matte. I think it's like Shape Yourself palette or something of that nature. So the way that they send it to you, they send you all the individual pans in their cardboard packaging. The outside part is separate and the inside insert is also separate, and you kind of assemble everything. But it's super, super cool because then I could, after I'm done, I can take these out and replace it with whatever. So this is just like their 6-pan like face powder palette. So I have 4 blushes, 2 are matte, 2 are shimmer, highlighting, and a contour. So this palette was a really, really good buy. I think all of these ended up being super, super cheap in comparison to what they normally cost. So this is definitely one of my go-to cheek palettes. Sticking with face palettes, I have this Kat Von D Shade and Light palette. I do like this palette. Her powders are really pigmented, and that's awesome. But the only thing I have with this was my first contour palette when like contour palettes were like super huge. And obviously I run out of certain shades faster. As you can see, I run out of this one the most. These 2 are getting down. I don't use these ones that often because I am pale AF, so I do not use those. But her new version of this palette is really awesome because these are refillable. So you can buy the refills, which is awesome. So powders are great. I think I would just buy all the powders individually though. And then also from Kat Von D, I have the Monarch palette. This is discontinued sadly. So I stepped on it and I broke the mirror, which really sucks. And that's also how this broke. And it was just a really good warm palette. And I really love how Kat Von D does her palettes because they're kind of like in quads. So that's a quad, that's a quad, that's a quad. So it's really awesome for that reason. I don't use all of the shades in here. Like these top 2 I don't really use. But like this one I use a lot. These ones I've used a lot. So it is a good palette, but they discontinued it, which is really sad. But she has more palettes. The Shade and Light eye palette's really good. All of her eyeshadow palettes are really awesome and are very pigmented. She has one of the best eyeshadow formulas in my opinion. So go check her out if you're looking for some palettes. And now from Becca, I have the 2 Jaclyn Hill face palettes. I've already gone through my regular Champagne Pop and I have moved on to this one. This one was the Christmas edition. As you can see, Champagne Pop is slowly diminishing. I kind of use Pearl. This one is more for darker skin tones, so I don't really use it that much, but it's really pretty. Real pretty. And then this was the face palette. So this one is really gorgeous too. Obviously you have Champagne Pop and Prosecco Pop, which I love both of them. And then you have the 3 Becca blushes. I don't really reach for the blushes that much in this palette just because they are so pigmented, and it gets really scary when you're trying to blend them out and they're super pigmented. And I'm not the biggest fan of really pigmented blush because I don't like having to worry about looking like a clown because I like, even if you just tap it, you're gonna have way too much product on your brush. So you have to be very careful with this one. So lastly, I have all my Naked palettes from Urban Decay. They're like a staple. I feel like everybody has the Naked, at least one of the Naked palettes. So I have 4 of them. So I'm gonna start with the first one I got. This is the Naked 2. So this packaging is a lot better than the Naked 1. It's the metal packaging. Naked 2 and Naked 3 are in the same packaging. And this one is just kind of more of like the brownie color, so you can see like these are lighter, and then we have some of the darker ones. I feel like this one is my favorite of the Naked palettes, of the regular, like the Naked 1, 2, 3, and Smoky palettes. And then my one complaint with this is there's only like 2 matte shades. These are the only 2 matte shades in this whole thing. And I'm a big person who uses like matte shades all up in my crease, and then I just use like 1 lid shade. So generally for this one, I use like everything for the lid and maybe one of the other shimmers in like the outer corner. And I also have the Naked 3 palette. This is one of my more recent palettes, and this is kind of like the rosy one. So there's a lot of really pretty like pink shades in there. This side tends to be more like browns and purples, and these are all like super pink. And this one is a little bit better. There's 3 matte shades in there. We have Strange, Limit, and Nooner. So these are kind of what I throw up in my crease. Then the other ones I will use on the lid or in the outer corner. This one's a really pretty palette too, and that one has more matte, so that's awesome. And then, like I said, I love matte, so I have this Naked Basics palette. So this is the first one. So this one just has a really great range. This is the only shimmer shade that I use this for a highlight. So we have a good variety from, and this is just good for like everyday wear. This one's kind of expensive because it's like $30, and I think this one is like $54. So, oh, I guess it's kind of comparable. But I like to use this for every day. I will use every single shadow in here. This isn't one of those palettes where it's like, oh, I don't like all of the shades. I use every single shadow in here. This one is definitely very usable. You can use the black as an eyeliner. It's very, very black. I like it a lot. So if you're looking for a neutral, everyday look, you don't want to get a whole giant palette, these are the ones to look at for sure. And then, lastly, we have the Urban Decay Naked Ultimate Basics palette. Pretty much, again, there's only one non-matte shade, and that's Blow. What a name. It's the only shimmery one. So you have kind of more of your cooler tones up here. You got some warm tones, some grays, some browns, some mauves, all of the colors, and they are very, very good. This one is also one that is finding a new home only because I have so many matte shades and I just don't need this one. Oh, the mirror is really good too because it's like a big square. You can just look at your face. So this one's a really good palette, but I am going to be rehoming it because I would want someone to get a lot of use out of this and I don't want this to just sit there. And that was all of my palettes. Dang, that was a lot of palettes. I didn't swatch in this video because I felt like that would just be too much. But some of these I have like other videos where you see them swatch or you see them use on my eye. Most of these in a tutorial somewhere. So that is the end of this video. And if you like this video, if you like me, please don't forget to click the subscribe button down below. Go follow me on other social media. Leave me a like and a comment on this video so that way other people will see me too. Alright? And that's it. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!